Hello, everyone. On June 4th, right before sunrise, there's going to be a full moon, a Sagittarius full moon. And this particular full moon is on the Great Attractor. All full moons are about fruition, about completion, about harvesting, manifestation. And Sagittarius is usually a sign where everything is big, everything is bulky, everything is enthusiastic. But this particular full moon is about something else. Let's take a look at the chart. This is for London. And so you need to relocate the chart and the time, of course, wherever you are. It's at 4:42 a.m. in London. As you can see, the sun is below the horizon. The moon is just setting. And there are a couple of features in this particular chart. You can see, besides the sun-moon opposition, two other opposition. One is the Pluto-Venus, which is out of sign, so it's dissociate, and the Neptune-Ceres, which is an applying opposition. It's a little bit wide still, although it's already there. You will see that we are going to have a crown where Ceres is a little bit wide. Anyhow, so what's in this chart? First of all, the Jupiter North Node conjunction is still there. And this particular full moon is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is touching, whatever it is touching, it enlarges. At the moment, it's our chosen destiny tasks or duties that are blown up. Of course, we do have a conjunction between the North Node and Jupiter every year, but at the same time, it allows us to concentrate on the fact that now we need to do something. There is this new era coming in. The old one is winding down. The new one is setting in, and it's up to us what we are going to do, because this particular full moon really tells the story or tells us what to do simply by realizing, by taking part in the processes and realizing that if you want a new life, if you want a new perspective, you need to take part in it. You can't say, okay, fine, I'm too small, I'm too young, I'm too old, I'm too powerless, and I can't actually do anything, because it's the voices of the people. If we are enough in bulk, we can be actually shaping our future. And this particular full moon, since the moon is on the Great Attractor, kind of suggests this. What's more, we have a triple conjunction in Taurus. Out of these portions we already visited a couple of times. You have still the Uranus-Vesta conjunction focusing on change. There's also the Astrea, the asteroid Astrea, which is the karma breaking or destiny changing abilities. And Mercury is there, which makes it feasible and also understandable on a very basic everyday level. On the midheaven, you have Pluto. It's already going down, but still. And on the IC, you have Mars. So there is this militant flavor. Mars-Pluto opposition is no longer there. It's way too wide. But the Pallas Athena's Lilith, Black Moon Lilith conjunction is tightening. Black Moon Lilith is the third turning point of the Lilith myth, suggesting power, some sort of very strong feminine power, the ability to go back and do something because you need to do. And for this, you need clairvoyance, and you need to have determination and endurance and stamina well, just this attitude that I will do it no matter what. And then Pallas Athena is the wise girl. So it is infusing wisdom into the Lilith archetype. And as you can see, one of the oppositions is dissolved by actually the Venus-Pluto, which is an out of sign opposition, because Pluto is still in Aquarius in 0 degrees 4, something like that. And Venus is at the very end of Cancer. So this is an out of sign opposition. And Sedna, which is at Taurus, 29 degrees 56, something like that, but it's a very, very slow moving celestial object. It moves less than 1 degree at 1 second, 1 minute a day, something like that. So it's really, it takes a couple of days before it actually moves into Gemini. So that's the space-time moment, and we are going to dissect it a little bit. Here's the Great Attractor. I do have a video on this. It is the gravitational center in the intergalactic space, the apparent gravitational center in Laniakea supercluster. As you can see here, this is the Milky Way. This yellow ribbon is around Laniakea, which our Milky Way is part of, and so this I'm not sure that I found this in a Hubble website. I hope it's really shows this region. I just it doesn't really matter what it is in it. What really matters is that that the Great Attractor is one of the key celestial areas in karmic astrology. As I said, I do have a video on this, so you can actually watch it. What is it physically? It looks like a black hole, but it doesn't actually behave entirely as a black hole. That is why they say gravitational attraction. Sometimes they say galactic anomaly. So these are the labels they use. Astronomers use for this particular thing, and it does behave like a black moon in that it swallows large quantities of matter in a huge, enormous speed, but it doesn't have a so-called event horizon, which all black holes do. And what they think, or what they sense, is that something is also escaping from it. So on the other side of it, it allows material to go out. The problem is that they don't actually see what it is. So it behaves a little bit strangely, and at the same time, it is linked to a very special and very important dilemma. All key celestial areas in karmic astrology describe karmic dilemmas. And in the case of the Great Attractor, it is fate versus free will. How much is fated in my life? How much is predetermined? And where do I have free will, or at least free choice? And soon we won't have free choice, because the powers that be simply want us to tell what to eat. It's unbelievable that they want us to eat worms and beetles and insects. It's ridiculous. Okay, it's really truly ridiculous. Where you can have normal human food. Anyhow, so yeah, we are slowly pushed into a corner by the powers that be, if we allow. But you see, that's the key. We don't need to allow it. There is a dissociate and a little bit wide crown. Whenever I see a crown in a chart, I always show it to you, because it's one of my favorite planetary pictures. Here you have a little bit wide and out of sign mystic rectangle. Pluto is the culprit. Pluto is the one that is kind of a little bit out of sign and also out of orb, especially the Pluto Ceres trine, but it is applying, so that's why I allowed it to. And the Ceres Venus sextile is tight. So here you have the mystic rectangle portion is Pluto, Neptune, Venus, and Ceres. With the Ceres Neptune opposition, the dilemma is about how I and what do I consider my home? What are the nurturing principles that I adopt? How do I eat? What are my eating habits? And Neptune, how is this infused in transcendence or mystical things? And the Pluto-Venus opposition is something that Judy Hoare, my master, called emotional black hole. She always said, I think this is a brilliant label, because she always said that whoever has a Pluto-Venus aspect, even the good aspects, feels like the Pluto-Venus feels like there will never be enough love. And sure enough, those who have this aspect, this is how they feel. They constantly swallow this black hole in themselves, swallows whatever love they are receiving, and they always feel deprived. But it's not just love, because Venus is also a financial planet. So it's also money and resources. So Pluto-Venus aspects, especially the bad ones, behave like a financial black hole. And it doesn't mean necessarily that you don't have enough money or you don't have money. Actually, those people do have money, because what they do is whenever money comes in, then they kind of misplace it or put it into accounts or put it underneath the carpet, or so they put it into little drawers or piggy banks and whatever, and all of a sudden they don't have money again, and then they want more, and then they do something to have more, and then again it gets swallowed into this financial black hole that Pluto Venus describes. Anyhow, the crown jewel of this crown is Sedna, and Sedna, of course, means creation through dissection, and that is exactly what we can do in this particular situation. Let's take a look at the transcendental object, not too many. In Venus, you have Rhea, and Rhea is not a world-creating goddess. So there's the creator goddess who created the manifested world. For instance, Anahita or Gaia, or almost every mythology has this somewhere hidden. For instance, in Egyptian mythology, there's also a creator goddess, interestingly enough. But the problem is that they no longer actually consider her like this. Anyhow, so Rhea is simply an era-creating goddess. She's the wife of Kronos, Saturn. So this suggests that, yes, a new era is emerging. The old one is winding down. The old world order is also winding down. And we need to be very, very careful what we create. Because my good news is that without us, they can't create it. Okay, if we say no, if we reject everything that they want, if we are not taking part in their ball plan, then it's not going to happen. And they know this. That's why they are trying to manipulate us. That's why the news is no longer news, but manipulation. Okay. On Neptune, you have Amor and Epimetheus. Epimetheus is Prometheus's brother. And in Greek mythology and Greek thinking, Prometheus and Epimetheus describe the two ways of thinking according to Greek philosophy, because Prometheus is the one who knows before, and Epimetheus is the one who only knows afterward. So he is like a poor cousin, so to speak. But in karmic astrology, we link the ability to understand what's happening and to reflect on it, this ability to Epimetheus. It's a very important figure. On Pluto, you still have Orius. And yes, it's so ridiculous that the European Parliament just issued or just voted against Hungary that we are not democratic enough. It's so ridiculous because they are so corrupt. I mean, if you look around, every one of them is corrupt to their bone, and then they have the audacity to tell us what to do. It's ridiculous, really. Of course, they have no power. Luckily, they have no power. They only have blackmailing power, but who cares? Yes, and then Orius, that's Orius. Orius is the TNO, or the centaur that describes mitigated consequences or mitigated punishment, and these people who were in this corruption situation because they simply amassed huge amounts of, millions of euros. They were sitting on cash, and they were actually caught black-handed, and now they are back in parliament and doing their job. Ridiculous. That's exactly what Plutocracy, given a free card. That's what Pluto and Orius conjunction is. And on Ceres, you have Osiris, the lord of the underworld in Egyptian mythology, and Demeter, another era creating goddess. She is the goddess of agriculture and the wheat and any cereals. And Alkaid, which is Eta Ursa Major, so one of the brilliant stars of the Big Dipper or the Big Bear. And on Sedna, you still have Pleiades, so it's not something not going away, because for the next 2 years, Sedna will be on the Pleiades. And as I was looking at these charts, what I actually found were two intertwining rectangles. One is the mystic rectangle we already looked at, which was the at the tip of which was Sedna, but so the crown. So this Pluto, Venus, Neptune, Ceres problem, and a mystic rectangle is unique in that the two opposite any rectangle has two oppositions inside. So the inside is tension. There's big tension, but the outside aspects are all flowing aspects, trines and two sextiles. So how do we, and that's why it's linked to mysticism and mystic talents and all sorts of mystical behavior patterns. Why? Because what I do with my inner tension, oppositions inside, I can actually see where I am blessed and how I can create harmony, trines, and I can actually notice the potentials and act upon them, sextiles. So that's why we call them this particular configuration mystic rectangle. The other rectangle, however, which is between Sun, Moon on the one hand and Pluto, Venus on the other, is a tense rectangle. Here you only have tense aspects, the two oppositions inside, and two sesquiquadrates and semisquares on the outside. And that is creating a lot of tension. There's no releasing energy in itself. So that is actually incorporating the Sun-Moon opposition with the Pluto-Venus opposition. So you can add to the tension, the function of the emotional black hole, and also the tense energy of the full moon. There's an interesting thing that I'm going to show you in a minute, but let's take a look at the transcendental objects. On the sun, you have Odysseus. Now, Odyssey, of course, everyone knows it from school. He is an interesting figure. He is very resourceful and very mischievous, let's put it this way. He always has his will, and he can even almost defeat Neptune, Poseidon. So he really survives, and he finally is able to get home. On the moon, you have academia, academic knowledge, Requiem, and the Great Attractor and Wide. Requiem, as you know, is a sad asteroid. It shows a lot of grief and death. And I just heard in the news this morning that the Ukrainian army put together 60,000 people for the big offense, military offense. The problem with this is that whenever you start an attack, at least 1/3, but sometimes 2/3 of your manpower will die. So out of these 60,000 people, at least 30,000 will die, maybe 40. Is it really worth it? I'm asking. Those who are applauding the war and are trying to help Ukraine, are you really helping Ukraine? Or are you pushing more and more people to the grave? Why don't you sit down and talk? Of course, why? Because the United States wants to win a war against Russia. But it is too, I'm not going to use any bad words, because I'm going to get kicked out of YouTube and I won't be able to talk to you. Anyhow, the United States has always fought in proxy wars. And now the Ukrainians are dying instead of the Americans. Let's put it this way only. Okay, and then the Great Attractor, we talked about what it is. And our wide is Beta Draco. It is actually the head of the celestial dragon, where you have those little bumps. And it's usually in Hungarian, for instance, in ancient Hungarian, we called this particular star as the crown of the dragon. And it, of course, animates power, of course, as well. I think the rest I already told you previously. So this is what I want to show you here. And this is really brilliant because these two oppositions, besides these two intertwining rectangles, this is what else you have here. You have actually two biceptiles, again, creating something. It looks like, I don't know what it looks like. It looks like a the wings of a something. But anyhow, so what is a septile or a biseptile? A septile is 1/7 of the circle, of the 360-degree circle. And it is not an even number at all because it is 51 degrees and 27 minutes. So you actually, there's no way you can actually take a look at the chart and see, wow, this is a septile. So it's a hidden energy and it is linked to mysticism. And when you have a biseptile, which is actually double the septile, so if you calculate it, it should be 102 degrees and 54 minutes. So it's practically 103 degrees. It is a double energy of the mysticism and it's manifesting. So with the septile, it's usually mysticism hidden in a way, and not always conscious and not always manifesting, but the biseptile is manifesting. And here we have two biseptiles. One is between Neptune and the moon, which is brilliant because, of course, the moon is your spiritual essence. It is also your motherhood. It is your instinctual behavior and also kind of understanding your psyche. And Neptune, of course, is itself mysticism and transcendental experiences. And of course, universal love as well. And then the sun makes a biseptile to Ceres, the nurturing principle. And again, the biseptile gives us the potential to understand what is behind the need to have a home, to have a nation, to have roots, and to count on those roots and the count on those home. Now the powers that be want to take away what we call personal belongings. They want to take away belongings. So you should not have a car, you should share a car. Then the next step will be you should not have a home, you should share your home. Come on. The basic instinct, even of an infant, is to hold on to something that is his or hers. So it's not going to work, of course, because they can't go against basic instincts of humankind. I hope so, at least. But anyhow, these two biseptiles are really brilliant. And again, this particular full moon is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter enlarges everything it touches. At the moment, it touches the North Node, our chosen destiny. And this is a moment when you need to choose your destiny wisely, and you need to be able to kind of hold on to what you want and what you own and what you believe. Thank you for listening. Happy new moon. Bye-bye.